we're on to our next topic, which is going to be Nebraska's weight room and their training results. Because this week, Matt Rule talked about how fast his team is, how much stronger his team is, mentioned that the strongest player on the team, I believe, is Justin Evans. What were your thoughts here?
Adam, go ahead. This is your baby, Adam.
Why? Because Adam's jacked, or why?
Yeah, because Adam's 6'6", and what are you now? 300?
That's not a good thing when you're not playing anymore, Sip. You don't want to be 300 anymore.
It's fine. You're not. You don't have a weight issue. You're just a big dude.
No, I know. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things Rule has said. I'm always, because he's very good at public speaking. Like, he's very good at getting his point across. And so I respect that. Sometimes I try to listen for the words within the words. These are numbers. These are facts. These are indisputable. Now, we've never gotten these before. So how does this compare? Had he given us numbers last year? I do remember when they moved spring ball way up, immediately my thought was, how does this affect winter conditioning? And then because we need to get bigger, faster, stronger. We got pushed around too much, okay? So we need to get better in the physicality department. Then he explained, well, classes started a week earlier, so we could get 6 weeks of winter conditioning in. Then we had spring ball, and there was even a week off for spring break during spring ball. And then you could have another, I think it was 5 to 6 week conditioning period afterwards. So it's almost a bonus conditioning period, and then a little break, and then summer conditioning. And I was like, that's awesome. That's kind of like 2 mini winter conditionings and then summer conditioning. And so when you start to hear some of these numbers, when you hear the amount of fat that they lost and muscle that they put on, and the guys running 21 miles per hour, Justin Evans squatting 700 pounds, and Brendan Black over 30 reps on the 225, those are things that are tangible. That's not opinion based. It doesn't matter how you say it, the numbers stick. And I'm a guy who likes that. Amir Abdullah, 2-time lifter of the year, by the way. So that neck got there for a reason. So yeah, for me, that, as much as anything we've seen, they've been talking about good all offseason, I believe, and they put on a lot of weight. Like Jasir Whittington put on 25 pounds. Okay, you got to be able to move and things of that nature, but the guys have bulked up. So I think it gives us a much better chance on the offensive line to be physical for all 12 games, regardless of who we're playing. And the defensive line's a little bit more the question mark. How do they hold up in November? How do they hold up versus Iowa, Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon, all those teams? Even Washington's line is freaking huge. They're over 325 across the board on average. But it gives us a better opportunity to do those things. And those are very tangible, real numbers that he's talking about. So
what he's talking about with Justin Evans is a 700-pound back squat, which leads the team. I like that. I like that. I don't know. It makes sense to me to have your strongest guy in the middle of the field at center, a veteran player, a rock like Evans. I like to hear that. Also, the Brendan Black number, I mean, Rule said well over 30 reps at 225. That's impressive. Again, that's your offensive line. It's the middle of the field, I like having that strength in the middle of the field. You could put that in perspective, Adam. 30, he said way over 30 times. He must have been in the mid-30s on that, which is astounding to me. It's astounding. Connor, are you a weightlifter?
I am a weightlifter, yeah. I had a power clean record when I was in high school.
You did. So 225 30 times is unfathomable for
Well, those are NFL numbers. Brendan Black, you've got Brendan Black and you've got right next to him Justin Evans, and they're two of the strongest guys in the entire team. It feels like they should be able to run it between the zero, right? The one hole. It's like, come on, let's go after them. Let's drive it forward, and let's use our strength, which is our 2 interior offensive linemen.
They should drive it right through the a-hole. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. I was trying to, I thought of A in my head, and I was like, I'm not about to say
I knew what you were saying.
Hey, listen, the one thing about being old, I will tell you, you guys probably have no idea. They used to, back in the Boyd Epley days, now I'm going to go back, early 2000s maybe was the last time they did this. They would call the riders over and give us a charts with 40 times and lift times and 40. Just everything. It used to be a big deal. We'd write a story every year about it, and it was very detailed. Boyd was very proud of it. So I don't know why that went away. It did go away. Rule did talk, and at some length about numbers, but it's hard because you don't have any frame of reference. It's like, okay, how's that compared to Texas? How's that compared to last year's Nebraska team? It was impressive. Particularly, I thought Justin Evans and Brendan Black, but I just don't have any frame of reference on all that.
That's the tough part. I think, Adam, my question for you is,
yeah,
how much does it matter when you've got these guys who are physical freaks? Does it always translate, or are there guys who are going to be super fast, super strong, who aren't able to perform on the field?
Oh, yeah.
It does not always translate. So the one thing that concerned me is I didn't hear any defensive linemen's names, like the tackles. I want to hear some defensive tackles names. And that's not a bad thing. As a whole, you've got more offensive linemen, you've got bigger ones, okay? And your defensive ends typically aren't going to be in that type of conversation, but I would have loved to have heard a D tackle's name in there as well. To reference what Sip's talking about, it used to be our power index. So there was points for the power index. When I first got there, if you ran like a 4.7 and you weighed 260, I forget what it was, you might get 250 points. But if you ran 4.7 and you weighed 280, you were going to get more points. You might get 300 points. And so it was the bench, squat, clean. It was the 10, the 40, and the vertical jump were the main things that they tested. And you'd have a certain amount of points. And there were records that were kept. There was a platform in the weight room. And I know this platform well because my first day as a clueless true freshman, my parents dropped me off to head home to state of Washington. I'm at Nebraska on my own for good. I walk in the weight room. I don't know what to do. And I sit right on that platform. You don't do that. That is sacred. I had seniors who came over and ripped into me like a monkey on a cupcake, and I had no idea what was going on. They're like, the only people allowed to sit on that are the people who've, I think it was over 2,000 points combined. If you don't get over 2,000 points, and there was only about 20 guys on there in the history, if your name ain't on there, you can't sit on that thing. And that became my goal. And Bill Callahan came in and kind of got rid of that, so I never got to reach the goal. I was this close to getting the 10-yard dash. As a redshirt freshman, I ran a 1.6 at about 266, and I needed to just get 1.59 or less at my weight. And then Callahan got rid of it, and that would have been the record for the 10-yard dash. I never got the chance. I've been bitter about it ever since. So
I wondered what was wrong with you sometimes.
I know.
Now we know.
Where did you stack up, Adam, when you played? Where did you stack up with the rest of the team in terms of strength, speed, all that?
Well, I'm a proud former lifter of the year, and that's one of my proudest things. So if you go in my basement, I don't have a whole lot of things displayed, but I have a couple of things. I have my first round draft pick jersey. I have my black shirt. I have one or two other things, and I have that lifter of the year trophy right in the middle of it. Nice. And that was something that I always took a lot of pride in, especially that was voted on by other people. I think it was actually the strength staff voted on that at the time. So for me, I always thought I stacked up really well. It was interesting because a lot of people didn't think I was that fast, but if you look at my NFL and Pro Day combine numbers, I was pretty proud of them. I was 292 and I ran a 4.72. Like I thought that was pretty good. But
pretty good.
Nebraska's had safeties. Nebraska's had safeties that ran 4.7.
Right.
My God, Adam. That's ridiculous.
You want to hear something else I was bitter about? The video game made my speed a 72 back then. I was not happy with that.
You should have at least been an 80, at least.
Oh, dang, that was the most interesting thing so far of this version of our deal. You ran a 4.72?